of real spine. He knew Hugo was beyond saving, and pulling Liam in would only destroy Serena too. Hugo's face darkened with fury. He raised the wooden club, swinging it toward Gerald's head, and at that exact moment, the massive iron door of the warehouse exploded inward. Two black SUVs crashing through like steel beasts, their blinding headlights flooding the space white as daylight. Before Hugo and his men could even react, a team of bodyguards slammed them all to the ground. I stepped out from the light and shadow, black umbrella in hand. I had anticipated Hugo's move. I had kept someone watching him in the shadows, and now I had everything I needed to take him down completely. Hugo scrambled to beg. Liam, I was wrong. They forced me into this, I swear. Please, for Mom's sake, let me go just this once. I walked toward him slowly, and pulled out the listening device I had planted on him earlier. It played back his own words, the entire kidnapping plan crystal clear. Old man, if you don't hand over the money, don't blame your son for being ruthless. Hugo collapsed. He dropped to his knees, sobbing and pleading, begging me not to hand him over to the police. You like to gamble, don't you? Here's your bet. I'll pay off your 500,000, but starting today you're going to a rehabilitation camp in Southeast Asia. No internet, no freedom, nothing but hard labor and reflection. When you've worked off every cent of that 500,000, that's when you come home. That's hell, I'm not going! Hugo spun desperately to Gerald, but this time Gerald didn't crack. He turned his back and let the bodyguards take Hugo away. With Hugo handled, it was time to deal with Vivian and Victor. I had my assistant send Victor's financial records, every buried scandal, to the financial regulators. Sure enough, the next morning when the markets opened, Victor's company stock hit the circuit breaker and crashed. Victor sat there red-eyed, staring at the screen, locked onto that brutal green line bleeding downward. Have you traced who did this? His secretary stumbled over the words. Sir, the source was routed through offshore servers. There's no way to trace it, but there is one short-selling firm that built up a massive position a full week in advance and made a fortune from the crash. It traces back to a venture fund. Victor's pupils shrank. Liam, that shadow standing behind Serena. A chill shot straight up his spine. Over the days that followed, bad news hit Victor from every direction. Banks called in their loans. Suppliers revolted. Construction sites shut down. He completely fell apart. He went home and took it all out on Vivian, screaming, hitting, and finally filing for divorce. Vivian panicked. She had lost her title as the lady of the mansion, and Hugo wasn't picking up. In her desperation, she came across my photo in a financial magazine. The moment she learned I was worth billions, greed lit up her eyes. She stormed into Novatech's lobby and dropped right onto the floor, slapping her thighs and wailing at the top of her lungs. Come look, everyone! The big boss of Novatech threw his own mother out on the street. What kind of son does that? Employees and visitors began to murmur. Vivian watched the crowd grow and felt a surge of satisfaction. That was exactly what she wanted. Make it loud enough, and I'd have no choice but to take her in just to save face. As long as public opinion turned against me, I'd have to play along. But right then, Serena stepped out of the elevator. Who was making a scene? The moment Vivian spotted Serena, she jabbed a finger in her face. You're the one who told Liam to cut me off. You stole my husband and you stole my son. Serena stood before Vivian, her eyes holding not a trace of anger, only deep contempt and something close to pity. Vivian, 5 years and you still haven't grown an ounce of class. Serena, don't get smug. I am Liam's biological mother. As long as I'm breathing, he is my son.